Omoyele Sowore, a human rights activist and presidential candidate for the African Action Congress (AAC), was released shortly after his arrest at Lagos Murtala Mohammed International Airport. He shared on social media that upon his arrival from the USA, Nigerian immigration seized his passport and told him he was to be detained. Sowore anticipated this incident as part of a broader clampdown and urged Nigerians to stand against tyranny. In a studio interview with Arise TV, Sowore discussed the arrest and his decision to return to Nigeria despite knowing he might be detained. He emphasized that he would not abandon his citizenship or dignity by avoiding his country due to governmental threats. Sowore clarified that he had committed no offense known to law, despite being on a watch list by the Nigerian Immigration and DSS, that is the Department of State Services. His decision to return was based on a scheduled court case, and nothing was going to prevent him from attending. Upon arrival at the airport, immigration officers confiscated his passport and informed him of the arrest order. Although he expected the arrest, he asserted his right to return to his country undeterred by threats from those in power. Sowore dismissed the idea that he should fear returning to his homeland due to the actions of a misguided government. During the interview, the discussion shifted to his plan for an upcoming protest against the Tinubu government scheduled for October 1st, 2024. Sowore mentioned that the protest was a continuation of previous demonstrations, including those held in August against bad governance. He outlined 15 demands from the August protest that had gone unaddressed by the government, which instead responded by arresting and detaining demonstrators. Sowore affirmed that the planned protest would proceed as part of a larger movement against government incompetence and injustice. He criticized the current government for trying to suppress dissent by using intimidation tactics like arrest and charges of treason. Sowore reflected on his previous experiences with being accused of treason, noting that he had faced similar charges since 1992. He recounted his first treason charge during a university protest against the Babangida regime, demonstrating a long history of activism. Sowore was again charged with treason in 2019 under the Buhari administration, and he views such charges as common tactics to silence opposition. Despite the risk of arrest, Sowore believes it is vital for Nigerians to liberate their country from an oppressive government. He suggested that the real treason was being committed by the Tinubu regime, which he accused of betraying the people. Sowore pointed out that even Tinubu himself was once accused of treason in 1994 during the Abacha era, yet he had to flee into exile. However, Sowore vowed that he would not go into exile but would continue to stand up for the people and fight for change. Transitioning to his political career, Sowore mentioned that he ran as a presidential candidate in the 2023 election on the AAC platform. He criticized the current administration for failing to hold a fair election and dismissed their legitimacy. He further addressed Tinubu's recent statement, which urged Nigerians to make sacrifices due to economic hardships. Sowore mocked the government's appeal for austerity measures while they themselves indulged in luxury such as purchasing private jets. He accused the government of wasting public resources on opulence while the average Nigerian suffer under extreme poverty. Sowore coined the term "risocracy", criticizing the government's habit of distributing rice as a solution to all problems, from education to flood relief. He asserted that the government's reliance on rice handouts was a way of manipulating the people rather than addressing systematic issues. He emphasized the urgent need for constitutional reform, which was one of the demands of the ongoing protest movement. He criticized wasteful government spending, including the purchase of expensive SUVs for National Assembly members, while asking Nigerians to endure hardship. Sowore suggested that Nigerians were not foolish and could see through the government's hypocrisy and mismanagement. He underscored the current crisis facing Nigeria, with the country at a critical junction between oppression and liberation. Returning to the topic of treason, Sowore, a lawyer himself, dismissed the idea that carrying a protest placard could be grounds for treason. He criticized the government for prosecuting peaceful protesters on nonsense treason charges, suggesting the legal system was complicit in the repression. After the authority returned his passport, Sowore was asked whether he would need to report to them again. He shared that while in detention, he had tweeted about his arrest, which might have influenced their decision to release him. The immigration officials informed him that they were resolving a watch list waiver before returning his passport. Once released, immigration officers escorted Sowore to retrieve his luggage, but he discovered that one of his bags was missing. Sowore reported the missing bag to the airline, hoping it was not tampered with by officials. Despite his temporary release, Sowore remained wary of possible rearrest, noting his long history of being targeted by the government. He reiterated that even if he were rearrested, he was not a stranger to such actions and would continue to fight for justice. Sowore's story highlights the ongoing struggle for human rights, political freedom, and good governance in Nigeria. He framed his return to Nigeria and continued activism as part of a broader fight to reclaim the country from an oppressive regime. The interview ended with a reaffirmation by Sowore's commitment to the cause of liberating Nigeria from corruption and tyranny. Sowore rejected the idea of living in fear or exile, choosing instead to face whatever consequences his activism might bring. His case drew attention to the broader issues of governance, human rights abuses, and the need for systematic reform in Nigeria. Sowore maintains that the Tinubu's government's oppressive tactics would not succeed in silencing the will of the people. He called on all Nigerians to unite in the fight against government incompetence, corruption, and repression. Sowore's actions were framed as part of a larger historical movement for freedom and justice in Nigeria, with roots stretching back decades. He reminded viewers that the struggle for democracy in Nigeria had always been fraught with danger, but it was necessary for lasting change. He drew parallels between the current regime's tactics and those of past military dictatorship, showing how little had changed. The interview underscored Sowore's belief in the power of protest and civil disobedience as tools for bringing about change. He affirmed that Nigerians had a right to peaceful assembly and protest despite the government attempt to criminalize such actions. I will play the video for you guys to watch and hear for yourself. Feel free to share your thoughts, opinion, and comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on notification icon to be notified whenever I drop new updates.
Okay, they arrested you this morning at the Murtala Mohammed Airport. You knew that if you came into the country, you will be arrested. I mean, it was foreseeable. And then you came in. Is that ego on your part? Is that foolhardiness? Well, they've given you back your passport. But why did you have to dare the Nigerian state?
It's a matter of right to not abandon one's citizenship, one's rights, one's fundamental dignity by running away from the government of your own country because they feel like they can violate your right. I have not committed any offense known to law, even though it was brought to my attention and that my name was put on a watch list. First by the CG of Immigration, the lady, and then later there was a document I got from the DSS that my name was placed at the airport on a watch list. But I had decided I was coming to Nigeria anyways because I had a case coming up soon, and that nothing was going to stop me. So I took my bags, packed my bags and got on the plane and arrived this morning to Lagos from the US after almost 14 hours of flying, only to get to the immigration people and they said, they seized my passport first and said, I have been ordered arrested. Of course, I was expecting it. But it wasn't a matter of ego, it was a matter of rights. It was a matter of existence. I'm a Nigerian, and I don't think any Nigerian should be afraid or be scared from their home country simply because some people are going haywire in office or in power.
Okay, but you've been talking about fearless in October, take back our country. The story is out there that there's a plan to protest against the Tinubu government starting from October 1. Okay, you've talked about a court case. Is that why you are here? To start another, take it back?
I don't have any reason to explain why I come to Nigeria. I don't come to Nigeria on vacation. It's my home country. And as a result, I can come to Nigeria for any reason whatsoever. I can come to Nigeria even if I don't have any reason to visit. It's my country. This is where I was born, raised. And after spending some 25 years in the US, I never abandoned the citizenship of Nigeria. So I don't owe anybody any explanation as to why I can come to Nigeria or the reason I can. So I can come to Nigeria for any reason. So I'm just explaining to you that whether I'm engaging in the protest, which is my right, or I'm coming for a court case, or I want to visit my mom, or I want to come here to come and drink water from the lake in my village, it's my right.
Okay,
the government doesn't, I don't owe the government any duty to be afraid to come home simply because they put my name.
It's okay.
On the
but tell us about this fearless in October revolt that has been planned.
Well, it's been part of the series of protests that has been organized by Nigerians, and we started on August 1st, as you are aware. That was End Bad Governance. This is supposed to be a continuation because of 15 demands that the government did not even attend to. Instead of that, the federal government arrested and detained a lot of people, minors, and charged them with bogus offenses, very egregious offenses of treason for carrying placards. So this is going to be a continuation of it. And the mobilization for it, the conversation and the conscientization and education for it has been on ever since the end of the August revolt, which was End Bad Governance revolt. So everybody's aware, the government was aware of this, and everybody should be preparing for it. Because it's a matter of right that Nigerians have a duty to just not allow this government to obliterate them with hunger, starvation, and incompetence.
But Sowore, are you aware that under this Tinubu administration,
yes,
where you carry placard is treason? You are toying with treason. About 10 people who had been arrested, they were charged for treason. They were remanded in Kuje prison. They've been granted bail to the tune of 10 million naira. So what kind of spirit will bring you back to say you want to commit treason, knowing that they will come after you and they will put you in Kuje prison, where they seem to have enough space to house people like you?
It is treason to arrest, detain, and falsely charge citizens of crimes they have not committed. And it's not the first time I was accused of treason. In fact, I heard about the offense of treason in 1992 at the University of Lagos when we went and did Babangida Must Go. And the police arrested us at Western Avenue Police Station, asked us to start writing statements under duress and said that we want to overthrow the government. That was the period that Olusegun Mayegun, who was president of NANS at that time, I think Femi Falana, Baba Omojola, and the rest of them were charged for treason. And the magistrate court did grant them bail. I was charged for treason in 2019 by Buhari, so I'm not new to treason, these bogus offenses of treason, but that is not our focus. Our focus is that we have a country to liberate and a people to save. So whatever offenses are thrown our way, it should not discourage us. It's up to the people to determine what constitutes the offense of treason. And in this situation, it is the Tinubu regime that is committing treason. And I must say to you also that in 1994, Tinubu was accused of treason. If you remember, when he was accused of bombing Ejigbo depot by Abacha. So that was why he left Nigeria on exile. But in our own case, we are not going to go on exile simply because the government is afraid of placards.
Well, you were presidential candidate in 2023 on the platform of the African Action Congress. President Tinubu has now said, look, there's a government to run. Politics is over. All the things that Nigerians are experiencing, these things are inevitable. Hard choices have to be made. And the Nigerians should be ready to make sacrifices. But, you know, some of you are still acting as if the election is still on.
Well,
so why?
We're not running an election. They never even had an election in the first place. But that's a conversation for another day. What we're saying is that the issue on ground is existential. And everybody's talking. Even the other day, I saw some elders, including the former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, who went to Tinubu and said we should bring about a new constitution, which is one of our demands, by the way. We talked about minimum wage. We talked about wastage in government. So you're asking people to tighten their belts, you know, that they should just tarry a little. But you are there buying yourself a private jet of $150 million. You are renovating homes of your VP for $21 billion. Everybody in the Senate and everybody in the National Assembly got an SUV that cost $150,000 each. I mean, are Nigerians foolish not to understand that this is just a ruse? You know, and that is why I coined the word, I think yesterday, that the government is no longer practicing democracy but orisacracy, which is government of rice, ruse and rice. Any problem in Nigeria, give them rice. Flood in Maiduguri, send them rice. Education problem, send them rice. People are sick, send them rice. You know, rice is, botanical name of rice is the Rhiza sativa. So that is where we are. And the government has become a joke. And that brings us back to the conversation about treason. You're a lawyer. I don't need to remind you of that. And I'm sure that if you were sitting in court representing an accused person, and it's a person that's accused of treason for carrying placards, you must look at the prosecutor and wonder whether he went to law school.
Well, I know that lawyers are part of the problem. Yeah. But, okay, they've given you back your passport. They've released you. Did they ask you to report again tomorrow morning? Because giving your passport does not mean anything. You can be asked to start reporting every day until the matter is decided. What did they say to you?
They just came to me and said, we were looking for, because I tweeted while I was waiting, while I was sitting in their office, that I'm now in detention and they've seized my passport. And they said, we're looking if you have a waiver for the watch list. I said, what's the waiver for watch list? And another 10 minutes later, they came and said, we resolved the issue. You can have your passport back now. And some of them actually nicely escorted me to get my bags. But by the time I got to the bag section, one of my bags had gone missing. So we're still looking for the bag as we speak.
Your bags disappeared?
The biggest bag I brought had disappeared.
But the ones you got, did they open them?
I don't know because I didn't lock them, but I'm just hoping that they're not trying to play funny with the bags. But I've reported that to the airline because every bag that comes through the U.S. airline, United Airlines, you have a tracking on it. And the tracking showed that it went on the carousel to where I should pick it up, but I can't find the bag as we speak. Well, I'm just hoping that nobody will go and plant anything funny inside my bag.
Okay, but for now, you are free.
Yeah.
You know, they're giving you your passport, and, you know, you have no fear that when you step out of the studio, they will rearrest you.
Even if they do, I'm not a stranger to them, and we'll resolve that when we get there.
Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.